We're flicking straight down the fairway of fun in this Dexterrrrific episode of Little Big Thumbs. Welcome to Little Big Thumbs, a channel that's all about finding great games that are equally fun for little players and big players. My name is JP, and today we're back on the dexterity gaming bandwagon with the Table Golf Association. The TGA, if you will. The Table Golf Association is all about flicking our ball into the hole in the least number of strokes possible, just like the real game of golf, and this game can be played as a solo challenge, as a competitive experience, or even as a team-based game. In addition to the flicking actions, we'll be using a die and spinner to determine the weather of each shot, and there are optional player cards to add special abilities into the game. But in the end, it all really just comes down to that pure flicking fun. You know that we love our dexterity games here at Little Big Thumbs, and any game with a flicking mechanic is going to grab my attention. But how does the TGA stack up against other great games in the flicking genre? And is this a game that's going to be appropriate and enjoyable for kids as well as adults? Well, let's stop putting around and go get ourselves some answers to these burning, birdie questions. This Dexterrrrific review is going to shine a spotlight on 3 unique elements that really makes the TGA stand out, as well as one aspect that we were a little bit less keen on. And then we'll wrap up the video with a quick discussion on how suitable this game is for play with children, and follow that with some final thoughts. That's it, short and sweet. So let's get to it. At its core, every great dexterity game needs to have a key element of skill. And in this game, the Table Golf Association, a lot of that skill comes down to this little rolling rascal. This little thing is surprisingly responsive, and with a bit of practice, it's actually possible to put a bit of a curve on it when we're flicking. And best of all, any kid who grew up in the 80s, like me, will immediately recognize this ball as a throwback to the legendary crossfire. You'll get caught up in the crossfire! Our second standout aspect of the TGA are the hazards and the way they ever so slightly change the experience. If after a flick our ball lands in the rough, the next shot must be taken with any finger on that player's non-dominant hand. If it lands in the trees, we're forced to use the middle finger on that non-dominant hand, and if we land in the sand, we'll be using our non-dominant thumb. It doesn't turn the game on its head to be stuck with restrictions like this, but it does add a little bit of challenge that can add some frustration and laughter around the table, which is a nice little bit of spice to find in a game like this. And the final aspect I want to highlight here is the course building itself. Each session of the Table Golf Association is played over a number of holes, and players take turns building the courses themselves. To be honest, when I first read that this was a part of the game, I was a little bit worried that it was going to slow down the momentum of the game, but it turned out to be quite the opposite. Especially with a group of adults, crafting each course became this way to build playful rivalries, with each person trying to one-up the previous course designer with silly challenges and seemingly impossible scenarios. This is really the aspect that pulls the entire game together for me, and I can really see myself picking up a second set of tiles just to make sure that my friends and I can create some more lavish and ludicrous situations to put ourselves through. One aspect of the game that I was not completely won over by was the game's weather mechanic. I can totally see why it's there, especially if you're part of a community that is playing this game in a league type of situation like they suggest on the TGA website. But for the groups of players that I play games with, using the spinner and the die just didn't add enough zing to the game for the time that it adds to the experience. Fortunately, there's nothing stopping us from keeping those elements in the box and letting us just focus on the flicking frenzy that really makes this game shine for us. Now, it wouldn't be a Little Big Thumbs video without a discussion about those little thumbs. Although my kids have absolutely no interest in the actual sport of golf, my girls really enjoyed building silly courses and flicking the funky ball around the board. The box actually includes little cardboard golf clubs if younger players want a different kind of control over the ball, and the modular nature of the game allows for games to be shorter and streamlined in a way that meets the needs and attention spans of any players that are at the table. My one big wish for the Table Golf Association was for there to be just an extra little sprinkle of silly added into the mix. And it looks like that wish might be coming true in their next version of the game, which is called Meeple Beach. In their Kickstarter campaign for this game, there's going to be a sore loser stretch goal expansion, which looks like it's going to add more than a little bit of goofy to this game of golf, as well as the Frozen Tundra expansion, which brings actual 3D mountains into the game, adding both obstacles to avoid as well as something to bounce our shots off of, adding for a different layer of planning in the game. As with any flicking game, this is not going to be for everyone, but the Table Golf Association can absolutely be a lot of fun for kids and adults to play together with its quick setup and snappy gameplay. It offers plenty of variety with layers that can be added or removed to make the experience into whatever you want it to be. And it's cheaper to get started with the TGA than it is going down the road of legendary flicking games like Crokinole or Pitch Car. So there's a lot to like here, which is why I'm giving the Table Golf Association our Dexterrrrific stamp of approval. If you want to learn more about the game, make sure to find the links in the description of this video. Thanks so much to the TGA for sending us a review copy of the game, and thank all of you for watching along. We'll be back again soon, and until next time, whether you've got little players or big players, make sure that you keep playing games that make your thumbs go way up. Bye for now.